a case to come up, and I'm waiting for a rebirth of wonder. And I'm waiting for someone to really discover America and weigh it. And I'm waiting for the discovery of a new symbolic western frontier. And I'm waiting for the American eagle to really spread its wings and straighten up and fly right. And I'm waiting for the age of anxiety to drop dead. And I'm waiting for the war to be fought, which will make the world safe for anarchy. And I'm waiting for the final withering away of all governments. And I'm perpetually awaiting a rebirth of wonder. I'm waiting for the second coming. And I'm waiting for a religious revival to sweep through the state of Arizona. And I'm waiting for the grapes of wrath to be stored. And I'm waiting for them to prove that God is really an American. And I'm waiting to see God on television, piped into church altars, if they can find the right channel to tune it in on. And I'm waiting for the Last Supper to be served again and a strange new appetizer. And I'm perpetually awaiting a rebirth of wonder. I'm waiting for my number to be called. And I'm waiting for the Salvation Army to take over. And I'm waiting for the meek to be blessed and inherit the earth without taxes. And I'm waiting for forests and animals to reclaim the earth as theirs. And I am waiting for a way to be devised to destroy all nationalism without killing anybody. And I'm waiting for limits and planets to fall like rain. And I'm waiting for lovers and weepers to lie down together again in a new rebirth of wonder. I'm waiting for the great divide to be crossed, and I'm anxiously waiting for the secret of eternal life to be discovered by an obscure practitioner, and I'm waiting for the storms of life to be over, and I'm waiting to set sail for happiness. And I'm waiting for a reconstructed Mayflower to reach America with its picture story and TV rights sold in advance to the natives. And I'm waiting for the lost music to sound again in the lost continent and a new rebirth of wonder. I am waiting for the day that maketh all things clear, and I am waiting for retribution for what America did to Tom Sawyer. And I am waiting for the American boy to take off Beauty's clothes and get on top of her. And I am waiting for Alice in Wonderland to retransmit to me her total dream of innocence. And I'm waiting for Child Roland to come to the final darkest tower. And I'm waiting for Aphrodite to grow live arms at a final disarmament conference and a new rebirth of wonder. I'm waiting to get some intimations of immortality by recollecting my early childhood. And I'm waiting for the green mornings to come again, for some strains of unpremeditated art to shape my typewriter. And I'm waiting to write the great indelible poem. And I'm waiting for the last long rapture. And I'm perpetually waiting for the fleeting lovers on the Grecian urn to catch each other at last and embrace. And I'm awaiting perpetually and forever a renaissance of wonder. A rebirth of wonder. The late Peter Rabel was one of the great wits of the UU ministry. He wrote UU parodies of popular songs and published them in a little collection, which he called, after the name of the hymn book popular at the time, Hymns for the Celebration of Strife. The title of the hymn book was Hymns for the Celebration of Life. At this time of year, I'm fond of quoting his Christmas effort. God rest you, ye Unitarians, let nothing you dismay. Remember, there's no evidence there was a Christmas day when Christ was born. It's just not known, no matter what they say. Oh, tidings of reason and fact, reason and fact. Oh, tidings of reason and fact. Our current Christmas customs come from Persia and from Greece, from solstice celebrations of the ancient Middle East. This whole darn Christmas spiel is just another pagan feast. Oh, tidings of reason and fact, glad tidings of reason and fact. There was no star of Bethlehem, there was no angel's song. They could not have been wise men, for the trip would take too long. The stories in the Bible are historically wrong. Oh, tidings of reason and fact, glad tidings of reason and fact. And if you read the newsletter and the sign outside earlier this week, you would have thought this sermon was going to be titled, God Rest You Unitarians. But I've decided that we need to go in another direction this morning. The skepticism of Peter Rabel's song is our starting point, but I don't want to end up there. You see, we all have a streak of hard-nosed rationalism, and that is a great thing. Doubt is the great path to truth. But we also have an urge for something more, something of mystery, something of wonder. And what I want to say this morning is it is okay for those two impulses to exist in the same congregation and even in the same person. No, I just don't want to say it's okay. I want to say it's glorious. And I want to say that's the way things are. No matter how hard-nosed we want to project ourselves, we are all creatures of both head and heart. I want to start out with remembering how our Christmas celebrations came to be and the role that Unitarians played in bringing that about. Both our denominations were born in Puritan Massachusetts. H.L. Mencken defined Puritanism as the haunting fear that someone somewhere may be happy. The Puritans took a dim view of any calendar celebration. But part of the excesses they were trying to curb in the English church was an excessive celebration of holy days. In England, the Puritans never completely succeeded in suppressing Christmas celebrations. But in Puritan Massachusetts, for a number of years, it was actually illegal to celebrate Christmas. A statute of the General Court in 1659 imposed a hefty 5-shilling fine on anyone found celebrating Christmas. Though the ban was lifted a few years later, Christmas did not actually become a legal holiday in Massachusetts until 1856. The Puritans were reacting not only against the excesses of the Christian churches, but also against the excesses of the villages and estates, both in England and in New England. In an agricultural society, December is a time of plenty. The crops are harvested. The beer is brewed. The herds must be culled to allow them to be moved inside for the winter, so a great many animals are slaughtered, and their meat must be eaten before it spoils. But all this plenty in the hands of the gentry only serves to make plain to all the gap between the rich and the poor. So in the countryside, Christmas had become a time of misrule, of social inversion, where the lower classes rose up in a ritual way and demanded food and drink of the gentry. The rituals which were developed around this demand were the wassail song and the mummers' play, both of which will be featured in our solstice celebration next week. Gangs of people would go from house to house, offering songs and plays in exchange for providing food, drink, or money. It was really a ritual form of extortion. In the cities, the tradition of hospitality moved to public houses, and it became common for pubs to offer free food and drink on Christmas Day. This produced large scenes of public drunkenness with much gunfire and mayhem. It was this social disorder in both countryside and town which prompted the early Puritans in New England to attempt to ban Christmas celebration altogether. As late as the turn of the 19th century in Massachusetts, no one got Christmas off, and businesses and schools were open. This neglect of the birthday of Jesus offended both branches of our religious ancestors. The Universalists celebrated December 25th with church services almost from the beginning of their organization. And they were a leading advocate in the first 2 decades of the 19th century to have the day observed generally as a religious holiday. The Unitarians were not far behind, though the Unitarian denomination didn't get organized until